My Out of the Park baseball series with the Chicago Cubs. This is episode 22 of the series. I was expecting it to be over at episode 20, but unfortunately, things didn't work out that way. So forward we move. As I said, we're at the end of April, and things have gone pretty well for us so far. We are 20-11, a 5-game lead in the National League Central over the Milwaukee Brewers, 6 over the Pirates, 8.5 over the Cardinals, and 9.5 over the Cincinnati Reds. Take a quick look at the stats, and then we'll get to some action. So let's look at the lineups really quickly. Rafael Devers is on fire through about 5 weeks of the season. 2.7 WAR through just over a month, 12 home runs, 26 runs knocked in 31 games, 29 runs scored in 31 games, 370, 429, 773 slugging, good for a 1200 OPS. So very good first month of the season for Devers. Mookie Betts in his first month as a Chicago Cub, 302, 366, 519, good for 1.1 WAR, 7 for 7 in stolen bases, 6 home runs, 17 knocked in. So good first month for Mookie. Javi Baez hitting really well, 291, 847 OPS. He only has 2 walks, so 291 batting average, 308 on base percentage, but he is good for about a WAR. Jason Dominguez having a pretty solid first month to his season, 5 home runs, 19 knocked in, second on the team behind Devers, hitting 275 with a 538 slugging percentage, so 862 OPS, good start there. Nick Gonzalez having another solid season, 848, oops, I just banged the mic, 848 OPS. Playing in place of an injured Austin Meadows, who's out for 2 months with a broken finger, has stepped in admirably. 18 games, batting 300 with a 600 slugging percentage, a double, a triple, 3 home runs in 40 at-bats, 991 OPS in limited playing time. Pena, Alvarez, both struggling with the bat, both hitting under 200. Kelvin Gutierrez, low average, high slugging, got 3 home runs in 26 at-bats thus far. Dorian Gonzalez hasn't played much, but not hitting very well. And then Vaughn and Naylor are both struggling out of the gate. Andrew Vaughn hitting only 208 with a 396 slugging, 78 OPS plus, and Bo Naylor has just been atrocious with a 39 OPS plus and 174 batting average. So we need some, in fact, let's do this. Let's move him down in the lineup so that he doesn't bat as much. On the pitching side, things are looking really good on the pitching front right now. Sixto Sanchez, 4-2 with a 3.07 ERA, good for 1.5 WAR, 39 strikeouts in 41 innings. Joe Ryan made 6 starts in his first month, struck out 40 in 38 innings, ERA of about 4. Really low BABIP, good strikeout rate. His FIP's a little bit higher, so I don't know if he's pitching quite that well. Sandy Alcantara, 2-1, 5.13 ERA. He's not doing badly either, though. I mean, 36 strikeouts in 33 innings. Got a 1.32 whip. His walks are a little high at 3.0, but he'll come around. German Marquez, his numbers are really weird this month. He's 4-0 with a 3.34 ERA, only giving up 26 hits in 35 innings. He's got under a 1 whip. Look at his FIP. It's 5.20. Giving up a lot of home runs. 7 home runs in 35 innings, but he's 4-0. And Brady Singer's gotten off to a pretty good start. Record doesn't show it, 2-3, but with a 2.56 ERA. Again, a lot of home runs, 8 in 38 innings, but as my number 5 guy, I'll take it. Michael Baez, Caleb Ferguson, Taylor Rogers, Davy Cruz, all pitching pretty well out of the pen so far. Sir Anthony Dominguez pitching pretty well as well, 14 strikeouts in 9 2/3 innings. So all in all, things look pretty solid for us. We finished April on a 6-game winning streak. You can see we lost 4 in a row right here and then finished on a 6-game win streak with some pretty impressive offensive performances, 16 runs, 14 runs, 9 runs. So offense is looking sharp. Like I said, we are without Austin Meadows for the next 2 months with a fractured finger. He wasn't hitting all that well anyway, but he had contributed 6 home runs in just 24 games. So we'll get him back at the beginning of July, I guess, sometime right around there. So until then, Deshaun Knowles will move into the starting lineup because he can play left field, and Pena will back up all 3 outfield positions, and he'll get some time in left and right because right now he can only play center. So he'll get some time out there in center field. If we look at front office finances, we have $30 million for free agents, $14 million in extensions. You look, Brad Hand is up, Michael Baez is up. Pretty much everybody else is locked up. Sanchez is going to be asking for a substantial raise. Ryan is going to be asking for a substantial raise. Nick Gonzalez, Bo Naylor, are all going to be asking for a lot of money. So we are going to have some decisions to make in the offseason. We might need to, and I'm going all in here, obviously, as I'm spending, a lot of money on my pitching staff. So hopefully we can win this year and it won't be an issue. Because once you win, it's okay if you spend the money once you win. But if you don't win and you spend the money, that's a problem. So, yeah, it is May 1st. I'm going to go ahead, I think, and just sim ahead to... there are no moves I think we really need to make right now. We'll see how Knowles does in left field. Meadows is only out for 2 months, so we'll get him back, like I said, in July, so no need to make a panic move there. We will keep an eye on the catcher position, as neither of the catchers are really hitting all that well right now, hitting about $180 between the two of them. So we got to keep an eye on that situation and hope that one of them can turn it around a bit. So we'll play through May. So when we come back, it will be the Rule 5 draft, or not the Rule 5 draft, the first year player draft, and we'll run the draft and we'll go from there. So I'll see you in a minute. All right, we are back, and it is time for the first year player draft. You can see another really good month for us. We were 18-8 in April, 19-9 in May, 3-0 so far here in June. Good for a 42-20 record, a full 12 games ahead of both Milwaukee and St. Louis through 2 months. And that's with 2 of our big bats out. Austin Meadows still out for another 5 weeks. We lost Javi Baez for 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. He's halfway through that. So that forced Dorian Gonzalez into the starting lineup, and he's holding his own. 0.8 WAR in 31 games. You can see he's improved his defensive chops at second, and he's playing just unbelievable defense. 5.7 zone rating in only 20 games. So he's doing what we need him to do. Deshaun Knowles playing okay in for Meadows, playing really well in. I think he's probably playing pretty well in the field. He's hitting okay. Andrew Vaughn, power's starting to come around. He's upped his average about 40 points here in a month. Devers still hitting pretty well. The power didn't hit quite as many home runs in May as he did in April, but he still got 15 home runs through the first 2 months, on pace for nearly 40 and almost a 9-win season so far. Mookie Betts had just a monster month of May. May. You can see at 357 to the first 10 games of the month. He was like 25 of 42 hitting. He was hitting 500 the first 10 games of the month. So Mookie has been a solid pickup for us this year. 3.2 WAR in just 60 games, on pace for 8.3. So good year for him. Nick Gonzalez continues to play well. Jason Dominguez looks like he might finally be starting to understand the big leagues. He's already got a career high in home runs and RBIs. 1.1 WAR is already 3 times what he had last year, and still 26 fewer games. He's already almost at his career high, a career high in doubles. He's already got a career high in hits. Still playing pretty good defense. So we were patient with him, and it worked out. Joe Ryan in his first season for us, pitching really, really well. 8-4, 3.08 ERA. 9.2 strikeouts per nine. He's got a whip of under 1. He's limited the walks. He's walking under 3 per 9. Limited the home runs per 9. So he's been really, really good. Really they all have. Marquez is 7-1 with a 2.70 ERA. He continues to pitch well. Sanchez ERA is a little high, but the peripherals are awesome. He's on pace for an 8-win season, so I don't really worry about a 3.53 ERA when everything else is in line with where it should be. So things have been going pretty well for us so far. Not a whole lot to complain about. Let's take a quick look at the standings. Tampa Bay leads the AL East with a 38-26 record. Cleveland is tied for first with the expansion Memphis Colonels at 37-27. White Sox are a game behind. Anthony Rizzo was one of the pickups by Memphis, and he's hitting pretty well. 289, 12 home runs, 38 RBIs. And Braylon Pena was actually one of ours, too. He was that guy who had the really weird splits. And you can see it's coming along nicely for him. He's put up a 930 OPS, on pace for 43 home runs. So that's somebody that we may have regretted trading. We picked up Reed Detmers, who's currently down in AAA, rehabbing. So we're going to have a really nice problem here in a few minutes, or in a few days, once he's ready to come back. Houston, 3-game lead in the AL West over the Seattle Mariners. Miami with a 37-27 mark, 2 games ahead of the Braves. And in the West, the Diamondbacks lead the Dodgers by a game and a half. So let's jump in to the draft. We're picking 34th here in the first round. Mock draft expects us to take outfielder Mo Hampton Jr. So let's see what's available to us. That's not what I wanted to do. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to do. Let's pick until Chicago. And now they want me to take Chase Spencer. Yeah, I don't want to take Chase Spencer. He's no good. There was a first baseman I was looking at. I wonder if he go already. Yeah, he's right there. He was expected to fall into the second round with when the initial rankings came out. So, all right, that's fine. What do we got? Reliever, 2-star starting pitcher, Ben Archibald. Wild Thing is his nickname. Went to Northern Illinois, out by me in DeKalb. Pitched pretty well for Northern. I want to take a reliever in the first round, though. Leaning towards Archibald, but I want to see if there's anybody here that he's going to make a good hitter. Do I run the risk that he falls? Do I take the chance? I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to hope that he falls to me in the second round, and I'm going to take Archibald in the first. Let's go to the second pick. He's still there, and it's all batters. And he's still there. All right, so we're going to take Christian Moore, and we are going to make him a... I could play infield or outfield. I'll probably make him... Only got a 31 range, so he's probably a first baseman or an outfielder. So I'll probably make him an outfielder. All right, let's go to the next pick. Anybody with any power? Jalen Hins has got some power, but I mean, if he ever hits 200, I'd be surprised. I mean, he's not... Yeah, he is terrible. I'm saying he's not terrible, but he is actually terrible. Let's see. Good contact, good gap power. He's going to swing at everything. Was in high school for 5 years, so good for him. I assume that means that he was playing high school baseball in 8th grade. That's what I hope it means, but who knows? Who do they think I should take? Dave Bradley. Oh dear, really? This is who you think I should take? No, I'm good. Pitchers. Yuck. That's a whole lot of yuck, guys. I think I'm going to go with Johnny Hurt. I mean, he's got the decent contact, decent power. He's going to make a lot of contact. So, maybe he'll develop, maybe he won't. Who knows? Anybody with a good eye who's got a relatively decent bat. Again, we come back to Jaden Hins. Maybe we just take him and hope that his contact develops. I mean, he's got good eye discipline, good power. Yeah, I guess. Now let's do this. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's see if there are any... Sometimes you can find, like this guy, he's obviously not very good, but sometimes you can find hitters who are also decent pitchers. I think I'm going to take him as a hitter. And contact is not very good, but he's got some home run power. I'll take Kevin Thompson. And I think that's going to do it. The rest of this draft is unremarkable, so we will let the CPU draft the rest of our players. Let's negotiate. And Archibald wants $3 million. That's fine. Just going to give everybody what they're asking for. I know I can click meet demand when I pick them, but I've always just done it this way. Oh, that's right. And we didn't have a 3rd round pick this year because we drafted Mookie, or we signed Mookie, so that's fine with me. Who was that I was looking at? Yeah, I think I might sign him as a catcher. Decent contact, really good defensive catcher. We can give him his 500. That's fine. We have money to spend. Anybody else? This guy's a 1-star, huh? I'm going to skip on Dusty Horowitz. Johnson, Phil Murray. All right, so those guys are all trash. All right, so that's where we stand. Let's take a look here. We need to move anybody around. Mario Growaka is not hitting in single A, so we will leave him there for the time being. Let's do this first. All right, now let's go through and see if there are any changes we need to make. Cole Wagner, we drafted him as a pitcher, or he was a pitcher in the minors, or in high school, and we drafted him as a hitter, and he's starting to come along. He's already 22, and he's still in rookie ball. We got to get him, got to test him, got to see if he can hold his own here. So we'll disable promotion. We'll leave him in A ball and see how he does there. All can go back down. Gonzalez is not hitting in high A ball, but he was doing really well in low A ball, so it's time to move him up. Adams, we'll leave him there. Stewart, we'll leave him there. Luke Lito he's starting to come along, man, as a pitcher. I'm glad we were patient with him. The numbers are getting better. fact, let's put him on the 40 man so that we don't forget. I think, yeah, he's on rehab. He's got 19 days left on rehab, and I don't know what I'm gonna do when he comes back. I don't know. Wait, why is Osorio? Did I accidentally change my entire lineups? Ugh. Yeah, I did. Okay. So I clicked the wrong button. I clicked set up complete organization. So I'm going to have to mess around with my lineups here a little bit. I'm going to move people back to where they were. And then I'm going to sim to the end of June. We will do a recap of, we'll take a look at all the team leaders. We'll look at stats. We'll look at league stats, league leaders, that sort of thing. And then we will figure out what we need from a trade perspective, and we'll go out and get it. So we'll see you in a minute, and it'll be the end of June. It is July 2nd, which means it is time for international free agent signings. But before we do that, let's recap how we're doing this year. We'll take a look at the league leaders, and we'll go from there. So at the end of June, we sit 57 and 28, 15 games ahead of Milwaukee, 18 ahead of the Cardinals, 19 on top of the Pirates, and 21 full games clear of the Cincinnati Reds. You can see just by looking at our list, there's a lot of first and seconds on here. It's been a pretty good season for us, to say the least. On the injury front, Deshaun Knowles, who was playing for an injured Austin Meadows, was knocked out himself with shoulder inflammation. He was playing actually quite well, putting up an 853 OPS, 6 home runs, 31 RBIs in 63 games. We're going to get them both back in a week for the time being. Calvin Gutierrez is playing first. Andrew Vaughn has moved to left. So let's look at batting. Let's look at hitting first. And leading the way for us are a couple of Red Sox. Mookie Betts having just an absolutely crazy good year. 350, 424, 674, good for an 1100 OPS and 5.2 WAR through 3 months. He's on pace for 48 home runs, 120 RBIs, 44 doubles, 30 steals, and almost a 10 WAR season while playing above average defense. So I would say this has been so far so good on this signing. He's already surpassed his home run total of last year in half the number of games. So we definitely picked up a solid at bat there. Rafael Devers continues his hot season, 24 home runs, 64 RBIs, 321, 385, 645, good for 1,000 OPS and a 4.6 WAR. He's on pace for 46 home runs and 122 RBIs. So nice bounce back season in year number 2 as a Chicago Cub. He's already surpassed his WAR total from last year. So it's going well. Jason Dominguez, I mentioned earlier that I think he finally figured out big league pitching. And I mean, he's continued. I mean, 258, the average is a little light, 483 slugging, 790 OPS, 1.6 WAR. He's got 11 home runs and 46 RBIs. He's on pace for over 20 home runs and almost 90 runs knocked in while playing pretty good defense. So really solid 22-year-old center fielder. Nick Gonzalez, average is a little light compared to where he's been. If you look at his average, he's a 280 hitter, 284, 285 his first 2 seasons, so it's a little bit light there. But plenty of time for him to bounce back. 1.5 WAR. Javi Baez has been injured, only playing 49 games, but 12 home runs, 28 RBIs, 521 slugging, doing Javi things. Darian Gonzalez, he's only hitting 237, but he's been good for a full win already, and he's doing it almost exclusively with his glove. 7.7 zone rating in only 36 games at shortstop. So if Javi goes down, or when it comes time to move on from Javi, we've got an elite defensive player waiting in the wings. Bo Naylor has started to turn it around. The average is still a little light, but he's slugging almost he's OPSing 760 because of his on-base percentage. He's walked 32 times. It's third on the team. Good for just over a WAR. Alvarez, his catching partner, is starting to hit really well too. He's got an 813 OPS, so 2 full wins out of my catching situation. Eric Pena has gotten a little bit more playing time this year, and he's taken advantage of it. 6 home runs in 58 games, OPS of 804. Kelvin Gutierrez, limited playing time, but again, good power. 7 home runs, 16 runs knocked in. Luis Medina, we called him up when Knowles went on the DL. He's got a couple of home runs through his first 6 big league games. Andrew Vaughn continues to struggle a little bit, although he does have a 754 OPS. The average is just a little light. If he can get that up to 260, all of a sudden this becomes 370 and this becomes 480, and we're looking at an 830 OPS. So still plenty of time for him to turn it around. His ratings are too good for him not to hit, so he will come around. Pitching, again, things have been great on the pitching side. Sixto Sanchez continues to pitch really, really well. 7-4, 3.41 ERA, 9.8 Ks per 9, 4.1 WAR. Joe Ryan and Alcantara both sit at about a 2 WAR each. Ryan's 10-5 with a team leading 123 strikeouts. Alcantara 7-4, 3.55. Marquez is 11-2 with a 2.70 ERA, so he's pitched great. Michael Baez out of the bullpen has been a monster, 72 strikeouts in 45 innings. Brady Singer's pitched really well for us this year. We did get Reed Detmers back, but because of how well Singer's pitched out of the rotation, there's been no reason for me to move Detmer in. 8-5 with a 3.38 ERA. 7.1 strikeouts, only walking 1.5, so he continues to pitch well. And the rest of the bullpen's pitching pretty well too. Davey Garcia is the only one with an ERA over 4, and he's striking out 13 per 9. So he's a bit hit or miss, but everybody else is pitching really well. Brad Hand continues to pitch well for us. Ryan Jensen in limited time, 1.45 ERA. Caleb Ferguson, 16 saves, 45 strikeouts in 27 innings. So he's bounced back nicely after a rough 2024. So yeah, things are going really, really well for us right now. Let's look at the league leaders. Let's look at the American League first, because that's what we always do. American League hitting leaders, I'm assuming that's Leo Steger with Baltimore hitting 362. Yordan Alvarez, 36 home runs already, on pace for 67 home runs and 155 runs knocked in. Alvarez with 83 RBIs. Matt Olson, 424 on base percentage. Alvarez sporting almost a 1100 OPS. Alex Bregman leads in WAR at 4.5. Vlad Jr. with 112 hits already. Vidal Brujan, 26 stolen bases. Miguel Sano's already struck out 145 times. See the rest of the numbers here. Mike Trout hit his 500th home run this year. The numbers are a little down. He's down to 253. So he's at 508 home runs. He's got an outside shot at 700, outside shot at 3,000 hits. I think his numbers have started to drop a tiny bit. You can see they're trending down. At least the contact and the eye is trending down just a tiny bit. So I don't know if he's going to get there, but we will see. Pitching leaders. Matt Manning with Detroit, 2.23 ERA. Brandon Bielak, 9 wins for Houston. Alex Fado, 11 losses so far, 5-11, 6.62 ERA. That's no good. Sandy Gaston, 20 saves for the Rays. Jack Flaherty with a 3.2 WAR already for the Jays, so he's had a nice bounce-back season. He struggled last year, doing pretty well this year. Daniel Espino, 144 strikeouts already on the season for the Indians. Matt Manning, a 2.23 ERA plus. Flaherty leads in WHIP. Josh Hader, closer for the White Sox this year, already with 20 saves midway through the season. So he's pitching pretty well. Let's jump over to the National League. Trevor Rogers leads in ERA with a 2.11 ERA. Marquez is 5th. JB Bukowskis with 12 wins for Arizona already. Marquez is tied for second with 11, and Ryan with 10. Michael Fulmer leads the league with 11 losses. Jose Alvarado, 22 saves for the Mets. Sixto Sanchez leads in WAR. Joe Ryan leads in strikeouts. Christian James leads in innings pitched, complete games, and shutouts. He's 11-3 with a 2.78 ERA. Very nice. I like the Charlotte logo. I might have to see if I can find a different Bucks logo, but I kind of like that. Joe Ryan, I said, leads in strikeouts. Jordan Hicks is perfect in saves for Charlotte. Been a nice pickup for them. And batting leaders in the National League. Mookie Betts leads the league in hitting. Devers is third. Nolan Arenado, 32 home runs. Arenado, 84 RBIs. Jesse Winker, 445 on base percentage. Betts is third. Devers is sixth. Bellinger leads with a 710 slugging. Mookie is second. Bellinger leads with an 1100 OPS. Mookie is second. Mookie leads in WAR. Runs scored. Devers leads in doubles. Mookie leads in total bases. Cody Bellinger with a 186 OPS plus. So you can kind of take a look at the rest of the league leaders there. So let's look at the international amateurs, shall we? Okay. It doesn't look like there's... I see the problem is we don't have a lot of information on them. There's not a whole lot we can do about that. I mean, if their average is closer than our average, then obviously he's well worth it. Yeah, I mean, I think we just go after Brito. Not going to overthink it. Submit that offer. All right, so what do we need? Really, I'm not sure. I don't think we need much. I mean, we're going to get Meadows and Knowles back, so that's going to give us our outfield depth back, so we don't have to worry about playing Vaughn in left field where he's not good. Maybe first base if we don't think that Vaughn is going to bounce back. We're set in the bullpen. We're set in the rotation. We're set in the infield. Or we're set in the out. Well, yeah, I mean, once we get Meadows back, we'll be set in the outfield. We're pretty much set in the infield. So what I might do is just keep an eye on the trade block. See who is there. And if something comes up that piques my interest, I might jump at it. But as of right now, I don't think this is going to be an exceptionally busy trade deadline. You know, I might look at something where I package a couple of, like we had to send Jose Rodulfo down when we brought up Detmers. So I mean, we are stuck talent at multiple positions. So I might, try to bundle some stuff and see if I can pick up a higher level prospect, or who knows. I mean, if I can land a stud starting pitcher, and it slides everybody down and it moves Singer into the bullpen, then so be it. But I don't really need anything. So I'm going to go ahead and sim through the rest of July. We'll sim up to the trading deadline. And if I make any moves, we'll go over them. If we don't, we'll look at the team stats and we will call it an episode. So we'll be back in just a minute.
All right, it is July 31st, and we sit 76-37, 19 games up in the National League Central. It is trade deadline day, and I don't think I'm going to do anything. I spent some time looking at both the trade block as well as upcoming free agents, and there really wasn't anything that blew me away. There wasn't anything that was a significant upgrade on what we already had. So we could have made an improvement to the bullpen, brought back Alvarado, Emmanuel Clase from Memphis, but nothing there. And if you look at upcoming free agents, the one name that I was looking at was Corbin Martin, starter from Milwaukee, but he's been worse than all of my pitchers this year. So I don't think I'm going to pull the trigger on anything. I think I'm going to stick to what we have and hope that that this is good enough. I mean, it appears to be so far best record in baseball. So speaking of that, let's take a look at the standings. So you can see National League Central, we have a 19-game lead over the Brewers. Division all but wrapped up. In the National League West, the Dodgers with a 2.5-game lead over the Diamondbacks. The Braves up 5 on the Marlins, 6 on the Nationals. In the American League, the Blue Jays have taken a 7-game lead over the Tampa Bay Rays. The Indians with a 5-game lead over the White Sox, 7-game lead over the expansion Colonels, who are 9-1 in their last 10 games. Pena is hurt, but he was hitting .300 with 25 home runs and 64 runs knocked in 100 games. So he's played well. Riz played pretty well for him too. So they're getting some really good timely hitting. And they've got the best bullpen ERA in the American League. Bullpen and power. And in the American League West, the Astros with a 3.5-game lead over the defending champion Angels and a 4-game lead over the Mariners. So let's take a look at our lineup. I actually made a move because we're so stacked pitching-wise that I decided to go the 14-man rotation or 14-man bullpen or pitching rotation at least for a little while. There's just nobody who's pitched poorly enough to get sent down. Although I think... he's out of... shoot. See, I don't want to send anybody down who is waiver eligible because Rogers, Hand, and Baez are all going to be gone next year. So I want to make sure that I keep a hold of everybody else. Keep hold of Demers and Jensen and Garcia and Rodulfo to fill some of these slots. Baez I thought about bringing back, but if you look at what he wants he wants to get paid like a starter. And I can't afford that. And I don't have any place for him anyway. So I think what we might do, and you can see I did this a bit earlier, I sent Rodulfo down when Detmers came back. I think that's the move again. He's not going to like it, but it is what it is. And we're going to call Pena back up. We'll fidget with the depth charts really quickly. Get Pena some more playing time. And now we'll look at the offense. So through July, Rafael Devers is now up to a 6-WAR player through 112 games, 30 home runs, 89 runs knocked in, 315 average, 386 on base, 613 slugging, good for a just over a 1,000 OPS. Mookie Betts. Average is still up there at 336, getting on base at a 412 clip, and he's slugging 612. Actually has a higher OPS than Rafael, bit lower WAR, 28 home runs, 77 runs batted in, already scored 100 runs in 109 games. So top 2 players in my lineup are just raking. Nick Gonzalez starting to come around, got that average up to 287, 356, 450, 806 OPS, 2.5 WAR out of my starting second baseman. So he had a nice month of July, it appears. Yeah, 367, 417, 561, 978 OPS, 4 home runs, 21 knocked in. So good month for him. Jason Dominguez, 28 doubles, 16 home runs, 60 RBIs, slugging 485, 2-WAR player at age 22 as our starting center fielder. So striking out a lot, not walking a lot, but providing some gap-to-gap power on pace for 40 doubles. So I will take it. Bo Naylor's come along nicely since his struggles at the beginning of the season, up to a almost 800 OPS. Average is still a little light, but he's making up for it with that on base and slugging, which is really nice to see from behind the plate. Deshaun Knowles has done really, really well in part-time action this year, playing for an injured Austin Meadows and now playing periodically once everybody is back and healthy. 292, 393, 472, 865 OPS. Remember, he was a Rule 5 draftee, so we paid nothing for him. So he's having a really nice season. Javi Baez, doing Javi Baez things, 260 batting average, 300 on base, almost 500 slugging, good for 1.5 WAR, and still playing pretty good defense. I think his Gold Glove days are behind him, but he's still playing pretty good defense. That contract has held up nicely. I was a little worried about these last couple of years, but it looks like he's going to be able to play through it. So that works out well. Darian Gonzalez, again, offense isn't really there, but that isn't what we expected out of him. With him, it was all about his defense, and he's now officially a 100, both second and short in field range, error, and turn double plays are broaching 100, 8.8 zone rating in just 40 games at short. So he is an animal in the field. Andrew Vaughn has started to hit finally, thank goodness. Averages up to 245. He's got his OPS over 800 thanks to a 350 on base percentage and 450 slugging. 14 home runs, 25 doubles. He's on pace for 20 home runs, 86 RBIs, and 36 doubles. So if he puts that up this year, I will be content with that. Austin Meadows, doing okay, coming back from injury. If we look at his batting splits, in the month of July, he hit 280 in his first month back, 908 OPS. So, he did pretty well coming back. So, he's locked into that left field position for at least the next year, I think. Yeah, this year and next year. And we will see what happens next year. Alvarez playing our back catcher role. Average slipped a little bit, but again, he's our backup. So all he needs to really do is play solid defense. But if these numbers translate, if these ratings translate, he's only 23. Just look out. He's going to be good. Eric Pena, again, limited playing time out of the Rule 5 draftee, and the number, was he still considered? He was the number 29 prospect in baseball, but I think he's accrued too much playing time now. But again, he's gotten some playing time in right field, so he's becoming a little more versatile, which is good. 7 home runs to go along with 15 RBIs in 68 games, 22 starts. And Kelvin Gutierrez is, he's doing what we asked him to do. He's providing a little bit of offense, both first and third. He's holding his own, 766 OPS, 97 OPS plus. So he's been an average hitter, and that's all we wanted out of a backup. Pitching, just start at the top. Sixto Sanchez, 9-4, 3.89 ERA, 9.9 Ks per 9. He's not giving up any home runs at all. 0.8 per 9, 1.7 walks per 9, 2.74 FIP, good for a 4.5 WAR. German Marquez on a pace for a 22-win season. He's 15-2 with a 2.38 ERA in 23 starts. ERA plus of 192, 3.4 WAR. He's walking a little bit more than Sanchez, giving up a few more home runs. But I mean, he's been an ace in every sense of the word. Sandy Alcantara's come in and done a nice job for us out of the 4th spot in the rotation. 9-7, 128 strikeouts and 127 innings. 2.5 WAR. Brady Singer out of the 5 hole, 11-5. That ERA just crept over 4 in his last start, but compared to what he's done previously, I'll take it. I mean, he's on pace to win 16 games out of the 5 hole in our rotation, so I'm certainly not going to complain about that. Joe Ryan, his first season with us, leads the team in strikeouts, 150 strikeouts and 140 innings. He's keeping the home runs down. 1.6. He's still getting up 25 and 140 innings, but he's not getting himself into a lot of trouble. He's only given up 110 hits, so that WHIP at 1.1 is pretty solid. Michael Baez having a great year, 2.87 ERA, Opponents are only hitting a .179. He's striking out 13.5 per nine. This will be his last season with us. Like I said, he's asking for $17 million. Ryan Jensen doing a nice job as a swingman. Started a couple of games for us. 34 innings, 52 strikeouts from Jensen. As a 27-year-old, he's finally getting an opportunity, and he's making good on it. So he's doing a nice job. Caleb Ferguson, our closer. ERA's crept up a little bit, but still, 31 hits in 38 innings, 61 strikeouts, 23 saves, 14.2 strikeouts per nine. He's doing a real nice job. Sir Anthony Dominguez in a setup role continues to pitch well. I think his numbers are starting to slip a little bit. I guess they're not. He's still elite, so he's doing a nice job in a setup role for us. Taylor Rogers, our pickup from the Twins last season, doing a nice job as a situational lefty. 40 games, 37 innings, 43 strikeouts against 8 walks, so that's really nice. Davy Garcia, that ERA is still a bit high, but again, he's our strikeout guy, 14 strikeouts per 9. When we need someone to strike someone out, Davy Garcia is our guy. Brad Hand, doing okay. Again, as kind of a situational type lefty, isn't going to pitch 2-3 innings at a go, but 42 and a third innings, 47 strikeouts. So he's doing pretty well. And then Reed Detmer's just back from injury, gotten into 11 games and got a stat line there. So things are looking really, really good for us. I might mess around for a little bit just to see if there's some sort of blockbuster move I can make. I don't know what's out there. I don't suspect that it's going to be that anything's going to be there. And and I know this is a game and not real life, but I don't want to mess with the team chemistry, which is off the chart right now. I don't want to trade somebody out that might be a fan favorite or a team favorite, and frankly, I have no need to. We're pitching, we're hitting, we're fielding, we're doing everything that's supposed to be done. But I'll do my due diligence. I'll take a look and I'll see what is out there and what can possibly happen. So we look at our front office, and we still have a little bit of money for extensions. We're going to have some work to do in the off season, as our payroll is going to jump about $15 million just with who we have coming back. So we're going to have some things we need to do, but that's not a problem for right now. So that's, I think, going to do it for this episode. Take a look at some of our prospects. Luis Medina, putting up a 924 OPS in AAA. He is not going to be held down there very long. Osorio called up to AAA midway through the season and doing a pretty good job. 22 strikeouts in 12 innings. Quintero, another catching prospect, hitting 277 with an 812 OPS in AAA. Castellano, Rodulfo. These are guys that I'm thinking about seeing if I can, or not Rodulfo, but Castellano, Gallardo, Kessler. These are players that I'm thinking about packaging. Jones, I could package, but I'm attached to him because he was my first draft pick. He's struggling in AAA, but he's only 23, so we're going to let him work it out. And Luke was our first international signing, so I'm attached to him as well. And, if that contact and power comes along, this walk to strikeout ratio is just absurd. But if he can get this up to 48 and he becomes a 15 home run guy to go along with his contact and his gap power, he's looking at 60 doubles and 15 home runs, and he could be hitting 350, 360 a year. So this is very Ichiro-esque, I would say, when you look at these batting ratings. So he's only 21, so we're gonna let him plug away there. Double A, Luke Lito, doing really, really well in Double-A, 10.5, 3.26. So I'll have him finish the season there. We'll move him up to Triple-A next season, and we'll see what happens. Gonzalez is having a rough go of it in high A ball, but the same thing happened to him last year. We moved him up to A ball, and he only hit 192. We'll let him finish the season in high A ball. He'll start there next year, and then we'll see what happens from there. Adams, at 87 OPS. I mean, I think he's probably ready for Double A. Give him a shot. Stewart was my first round pick a couple years ago. Last year, actually, 2014. And he's already in high A ball, where he's hitting 282. He's never going to hit for a lot of power, but he's going to hit for a high contact, high average, good gap power, great defensive center fielder, great speed. So this was a good pick for us. I like Justin Stewart, and even if he ends up just as a backup outfielder, you could do a whole lot worse than these ratings. So pretty excited about him. Wagner, we moved him up to A ball just to see how he would manage, and so far not so good, but he's still only 22, and his rating's still a ways to go, so we'll give him a shot to get it done this year. So that is going to do it for this episode. When we come back, it'll be the end of August. We'll sim through the rest of the regular season into probably that first elimination playoff game. And hopefully we can have a better luck than we did in our last season. So that's going to do it. And until we talk again, everybody, thanks for watching. Have a good one, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.